Hi everyone, welcome to Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're going to be making gigantes. Gigantes are basically baked giant lima beans. Those are the ones that you can find easily in your supermarket. And this is what you're going to need. You're going to need a whole onion that I've cut up and warmed up in the olive oil. You're going to need some feta cheese and parsley for garnish, some finely chopped garlic, lots of it, crushed canned tomatoes, a pound of the lima beans, the giant lima beans, and then the spices. You need a little bit of salt, crushed red pepper flakes, black pepper, dried oregano, and a little bit of sugar to cut the acidity from the tomatoes. That's pretty much all you need here. It's another great, it's a great example of how a lot of Greek dishes are, mostly vegetarian, and they're so hearty and good for you, and they can double. They could either be a side dish or they could be a main course. This is a great example of something that's really filling and definitely could be a main course. So I've already cooked my onions, and I did that because that takes about 15 minutes for them to get to the desired state. And they've become pretty nice and golden with a tiny hint of brown. Let me show you what they look like. And before I do that, I'm just going to add my garlic, because my garlic really just needs to cook for 5 minutes max. That's it. Let me show you what it looks like in the pot. Okay, so my garlic is going to cook for 5 minutes, and then I'll add my sauce, and we're actually just making a sauce. What I've already done, and I did that off camera just because my videos I've noticed are pretty long. I am new at this, so I wanted to cut the bean cooking time in the video, and I just did it beforehand. What I did was I soaked them overnight in a pot, and then I drained out that water. I filled up the pot with cold water, and I covered it and brought it to a boil. As soon as it came to a boil, I let them cook for about 25-30 minutes, and then I just drained all that water, and I put them in my bowl, and I just drizzled a tiny bit of olive oil and sprinkled them with salt. You never want to cook beans with salt. You want to add the salt afterwards. They say it makes them tough. It gives them like a tough skin on top. So let's see. All right, so my garlic and my onions are done cooking. They're nice and soft. I have a can of crushed tomatoes. I'm going to put it in here with all of the liquid and the juices that are in the can. I'm going to crush some more black pepper in here and add my spices. And I'm just going to cook this for about 10 minutes or so until it's nice and reduced and really, really thick. Let me cover it so it can come to a boil, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so the sauce has really reduced. I've cooked it for about 10 to 12 minutes, and it's gotten nice and thick. I didn't puree this can of tomatoes because it said crushed tomatoes. We have some big chunks in here, so I'm just going to kind of mash it down a little bit with my masher, but it's not even a big deal. Okay, so you can cook it directly in this pot if you have a cast iron enamel covered pan. These are great for going from the stove to the oven to the table. They're really pretty, and I love using them. I've preheated my oven to 375 degrees, and it's going to cook for 45 minutes. And then we're going to raise the temperature to 400 and let it cook for the last like 15 minutes until it gets a little bit of a char on top. So I'm just going to transfer this in my oven, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's ready. So I took my gigantes out of the oven. They baked for about an hour, and then this is what they look like in this pot. I know that looks gorgeous. It looks kind of like baked bean parmesan, right? Especially now that we're going to add the feta cheese to it. Let me show you how we're going to serve this. Okay, so you can do two things. You could serve this as is. Put this pot on the table. I love these cast iron enamel covered, coated pans. pots, I should say. They're so good, especially because you can just, cook on them from the stovetop, put them in the oven, and then they're so pretty that you don't even have to transfer the food out of them. What I've done is toasted an Italian bread, and I sliced it into these little pieces, and I'm going to make kind of like a really fancy Gigantes crostini. So what I just did, I just brushed them with some olive oil, sprinkled some salt and pepper on it, and I baked them just until the top got golden. It was like less than 3 minutes. So this looks really pretty. You take a little bit. This is a really elegant appetizer if you're having a party and you want to take this dish and really serve a lot of people from it. It's super flavorful and it's very pretty. Okay, then you sprinkle it with a little bit of crumbled feta cheese. And this is Dodoni's feta, which is a sheep's milk feta, my favorite kind of feta to use. Okay, then just sprinkle with some chopped parsley on top of that. I'll do the same to my dish. Put a little bit of feta cheese. This is such a hearty and filling main course vegetarian meal. I promise if you taste this, you will definitely make this as often as possible. There it is, 2 ways to serve my gigantes. Gigantes just like that as a main course or a side, or a beautiful, elegant appetizer, gigantes crostini. You know where to get the recipes, www.dimitrasdishes.com. Can't wait to wash my hands and dig into this. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.